Hello and welcome back to Read This Next with Laura and Nicole from the Thunder Bay Public Library. This week we are celebrating Pride and we're doing
Yay.
LGBTQ comics.
Hey. What we do every year is we have a tradition of doing, usually there'll be a few different ones, but one particular special book list every month in Pride, focused on our young adult collection. And what we do ordinarily is we alternate years between one year we'll do a book list that's focused on orientations and identities. So we'll be like, if you're looking for a representation of this, here's a bunch of books where you'll find it. Here's a bunch of books. And then the alternate year, we do like general genre. So it'll be like, here's fantasy books that happen to have LGBTQ 2S plus characters in it. And every year these lists get a little longer and more unwieldy, which is an excellent problem to have. But what I found this year, because this year we're on a genre year, and when I set out to start doing it, I was like, oh, no, there's too many, which is, again, excellent problem to have, but too many different books to make like one book list with all these different things, because just, over time, there's increased diversity in this particular area in all sorts of genres. Like you can see there's tons of romantic, contemporary, like real cute little rom-coms running around. There's a lot of like queer fantasy and science fiction, like there's mysteries, like every genre basically. So when I started looking through that, I was like, I'm obviously gonna have to just pick a few and be like, this is what the list will be. So since I kept coming up with such neat and fun and interesting ones, I decided that one of the topics would be books that were comics or graphic novels.
Yay! And there's so many good ones.
So many. And the fun thing about this is that it still lets us cover a bunch of different genres. They just all happen to be in the graphic novel or comic format.
That's perfect. I'm so glad that you handled these lists this year and made that decision, because I would have been like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I was getting kind of overwhelmed, and then I was like, you know what, let's just pull this one little strand and just do comics. So the titles on this list and on the book list are either I went through the young adult and the adult collection. So there's a mixture of both. And then I did like a little section on its own that was specifically ones that were for the like 8 to 12 age audience, because there's also a ton of those, like a ton comparatively speaking to years ago, right? Where there was like, well, there's one, it's not like that anymore. There's, comparatively speaking, a ton. So that section is also on the book list. And I think we have 2 of those maybe on our list that we're going to share today.
I think so.
Yeah. So should we get started?
Absolutely. We actually didn't decide who's doing what color. What color do you want to be?
I will do yellow.
Okay, then you're starting us off.
I am. Okay, so this first one is a juvenile, so for the ages 8 to 12. And it's called A-OK by Jared Green, and it's a semi-autobiographical middle grade graphic novel. So if you have young people in your life who are Rain Telgemeier fans, by which we mean Smile, Guts, Sisters, all that.
Babysitter's Club.
This is another one that's gonna hit a lot of the same beats that they enjoy, those same elements. So this is a story about acne, identity, and finding your place. When Jay starts 8th grade with a few pimples, he doesn't think much of it at first, except to wonder if the embarrassing acne will disappear as quickly as it arrived. But when his acne goes from bad to worse, Jay's prescribed a powerful medication that comes with some serious side effects. Regardless, he's convinced it'll all be worth it if clear skin is on the horizon. Meanwhile, school isn't going exactly as planned. All of Jay's friends are in different classes. He has no one to sit with at lunch. His best friend, Brace, is avoiding him. And to top it off, Jay doesn't understand why he doesn't share the same feelings 2 of his fellow classmates, a boy named Mark and a girl named Amy, have for him. 8th grade can be tough, but Jay has to believe everything's going to be a-okay, right? And if you weren't sure what the representation is here, the a-okay should be a little tip off for you. This is
Part of the
about,
A team.
yeah, this is about a character who's basically first learns about the concept of being asexual, and then kind of starts considering that as his own identity.
That's
I
so
think
cute.
it sounds really good, and I like the bit about acne and the powerful medication, because I know what they're talking about, and that's something that lots of teenagers would know exactly what they're talking about. So a real and I feel like that's not a topic that comes up a lot
No,
in
because it's not a
fiction.
fun topic.
It's not. And it's not fun, and it is embarrassing, and there's like those weird sort of societal shames about it, like, oh, you must not wash your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you don't, it just doesn't get, it's one of those things that does not get brought up very much at all in young adult literature, which is strange considering what an impact it can definitely have. So
Yeah.
I was kind of excited about this one for a couple different reasons.
Yeah.
Sounds real solid.
Yeah, sounds very relatable. Also, I
Mhm.
just realized that my microphone was facing the wrong way, so I don't know if that changed my volume for anything, but
You sound a little louder to me.
there you go. All right. Our next one is called The Sunken Tower by Tate Howard. Okay. Dig is having a very bad day. That's the name of the character. His bag is broken. He can't catch a break at the local market. And just when things are looking up, he's kidnapped by a couple of blood cultists and taken to the underground city that serves as their base. Here, he'll make a tasty human sacrifice for an unspeakably horrible monster. Thrown into a dungeon, he's left to feel sorry for himself. But his new cellmates, Ayana and Serena, are ecstatic about Dig's appearance. He's a wizard, which means he knows magic, which means he can help get them all out of this terrible sunken city for good. If Ayana can get her hands on a sword and Serena can remember the way to the giant tower that leads up to the surface, then everything will go smoothly. That is, until the blood cultists catch up with them and Dig's magical abilities are put to the ultimate test. Because Dig's been keeping a secret, and if it's found out, he may never see the surface again. It sounds very D&D-esque.
Yes.
I'm super obsessed with D&D lately, but it sounds super good.
Yes, very, very much so, right? Like
Yeah.
quests, different roles, having to work together.
And that one's a Juve as well, so
It
like geared
is.
towards 8 to 12.
Younger
Mhm.
audience. We just inherited a shirt for my son from my nephew, and I was like, oh, what a cute little dragon shirt, and then I looked at it a little closely and I realized it was sitting on like a D&D
Oh,
die.
cute. Yeah.
I'm not the nerdiest person in my family is what I'm trying to say.
I love it. Oh, and I moved the cover on my screen so I could see it now, and the comics look like very stylistic but cute. They look cute.
They
I
do
don't
look
know how
cute. The
better to
blood
describe it.
cultists.
Yeah, they look so silly.
Okay, next one. So this one is in a different category. This
Mhm.
is so we've left the juvenile ones. I think this one is YA, which would make sense. It's called Welcome to St. Hell, My Trans Teen Misadventure by Lewis Hancox. And the cover is so fun because it's I guess it's the author in the present day and then an image of them as a teenager. And
Mhm.
it's just like clearly very different people.
Yeah.
Very different people. All
Yeah.
right, so a groundbreaking memoir about being a trans teen in the vein of Fun Home and Flamer, and at the same time entirely its own, says its publisher. Okay,
Cute.
cute. Lewis has a few things to say to his younger teen self. He knows she hates her body. He knows she's confused about who to snog. They're British.
Oh my god.
He knows she's really a he and will ultimately realize this, but she's going to go through a whole lot of mess, some of it funny, some of it not funny at all, to get to that point. Lewis is trying to tell her this, but she's refusing to listen. In this book, author-illustrator Lewis Hancock takes readers on the hilarious, heartbreaking, and healing path he took to make it past trauma, confusion, hurt, and dubious fashion choices in order to become the man he was meant to be. It's a remarkable, groundbreaking, not baking. Oh, goodness.
You got it.
Graphic memoir from an unmistakably bold new voice in comics. I just know like there is such an appetite for these graphic memoirs. And I think it really is being fostered right at the early age by Raina and all the other awesome like graphic memoir
Oh yeah.
Writers in that age group. So
Very
here's
true
a
to
teen
life.
one, yes, to
I
step up
do.
to next.
Yeah. I do love that like he's pointing to his younger self, and presumably she at the time
Yeah.
has like hair underneath her skirt, which is really, I don't know, like you said in the other one, it's not something that's usually talked about. And
Well,
yeah, I'm it looks really cute.
yes.
I think this is going to be a big episode of this looks cute.
Well, this next one does not look cute. This next one
Oh.
looks fierce.
Oh, yes. I'm glad that I got this one. Okay, this next one has the coolest cover ever.
It does.
I before even reading the description, probably with werewolves in it. It's called Squad by Maggie Tokuda Hall and Lisa Sturl, who's the illustrator. This this is perfect. Pretty Little Liars meets Teen Wolf. I'm a huge Teen Wolf fan. So those meet in this fast-paced, sharply funny, and patriarchy smashing graphic novel. Keep going, and I'm gonna not read the rest of that part. When Becca transfers to a high school in an elite San Francisco suburb, she's worried she's not going to fit in. To her surprise, she's immediately adopted by the most popular girls in school. At first glance, Marley, Ariana, and Mandy are perfect, but at a party under a full moon, Becca learns they also have a big secret. Becca's new friends are werewolves. Their prey, slimy boys.
Yeah.
Slimy boys who take advantage of unsuspecting girls. Eager to be accepted, Becca allows her friend to turn her into a werewolf, and finally, for the first, that's a pretty big trust thing for some people you just met.
Yes, I agree.
She's like,
I agree.
taking down slimy boys. I'm here for that. Sign me up. Bite here.
Well, it's funny because I was thinking that a good topic for us at some point would be secret societies and initiations. And usually
Yes.
those are not this extreme. But
No.
this book, she just jumped. She was like, I'm in. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
She's like, I don't care what it means. Taking down slimy boys. Yes. Oh yeah, so and finally, for the first time in her life, she feels like she truly belongs. But things get complicated when Ariana's predatory boyfriend is killed. Wait, Ariana? Yeah, so they take down slimy boys, but Ariana's boyfriend does not count until maybe now. Okay, her predatory boyfriend is killed, and the cops begin searching for a serial killer. As their pack begins to buckle under the pressure and their moral high ground gets muddier and muddier, Becca realizes that she might have feelings for one of her new best friends. Says it might resonate with fans of Riverdale and readers of This Savage Song, Lumberjanes, and Paper Girls, and probably that one by Sarah Gailey. When we were magic.
Yeah.
That sounds very tight knit girl group that is supernatural.
Or some of the
murder.
The witches episode we did with a bunch of different little like teen covens.
Man, you
I mean,
think
it's
we'd
not
get
even
better
that,
at talking.
it's not even that like late in the day. Like it's
No.
I don't know what my problem is anyway.
It is what it is.
But it is what it is. That cover though.
It's so good. Is this a new one? Like I feel like there's been similar covers to this one semi recently.
They're all things that we've got in the last like 2 years.
Mm-hmm. And I love that it says squad and then there's like scratches through it and then it says anyone would kill to belong.
Yeah, it looks great. Okay, Our next one, oh, so that one was the fantasy genre. And then
Mm.
this one is as well, totally different vibe,
Mm-hmm.
um, radically different cover. This one is called, well, the series is called The Hazards of Love. And this is book one, The Bright World by Stan Stanley.
What a name.
I'm not entirely convinced it's not a little bit of a maybe a made up name, but that's all right.
Could be.
That's fine. Lots of writers do that. Okay, so The Hazards of Love follows the story of a queer teen from Queens who makes some mistakes, gets dragged into a fantastical place, and tries to hustle their way back home. Ampero's deal with the talking cat was simple: a drop of blood and Ampero's name to become a better person. Their mother and abuela would never have to worry about them again, and they'd finally be worthy of dating straight A student. Oh no, I'm going to say that name wrong.
Where
Oh,
is it?
straight
Oh,
A student.
Ilanthi?
Yeah. But when the cat steals their body,
Just like Nicole said it for me. Continue.
I'm going to keep moving.
Yep.
Becoming the better person they were promised, Ampero's spirit is imprisoned in a land of terrifying, flesh-hungry creatures known as Bright World. I'm not sure what's bright about it, but okay. With cruel and manipulative masters and a society that feeds on memories, Ampero must use their cleverness to escape without turning into a monster like the rest. On the other side, Loranthe begins to suspect the new Ampero has a secret, and after the cat in disguise vanishes, she's left searching for answers with a no-nonsense medium from the lesbian mafia and the only person who might know the truth about Bright World.
A lesbian mafia? Sign me up! What is this?
Doesn't it sound great?
It sounds so good. What is it with girl squads? They're so amazing.
And the cover, I just love the illustrations. Again, hugely different style. If you're listening to us as the podcast format, then please do check out the show notes, because beautiful, beautiful covers,
Oh
and
yeah.
very different. Interesting to show how there's so many different ways of something being an appealing cover. It doesn't have
Mhm.
to be, there's many different ways of being appealing. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
Also, I googled it. Stanley is chosen name,
Sure.
and the pronouns are she, her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah. Important to note on our LGBTQ to SIA plus video.
Yes.
Yeah,
We
so
got
that's
there.
why
Yeah.
Stanley. That's an amazing name choice.
It is. It's
Yeah,
like, I could just pick one of these, but what if
yeah.
double
Like
it?
that is what I want for people. Whenever I see people who have chosen new names and they're funky like that, I'm like, you know what? I wish I could do that. I mean, technically I could, but like,
You could if you wanted.
it's been
I
too
mean,
long.
when I went away to university, one of the times I tried introducing myself as Lore.
Wow.
It didn't stick because no one heard Lore. They still just heard Laura,
Interesting.
because Lore's not really a name. It didn't work, is what I'm saying.
Well,
So,
you can
yeah.
try. You can never make your own nickname,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Yeah. Okay, so we went from one distinct like 80s bright style to
Yeah.
a more
Beautiful
comic-y cool
illustrated.
cover, and now we're going to a more softer illustration, like rounded edges, thin lines. So this is Coming Back by Jesse Zabarski, and another fantasy. Okay,
Yeah.
Preet is magic, Velissa is not. Everyone in their village has magic in their bones, and Preet is the strongest of them all. Without any power of her own, how can Velissa ever be worthy of Preet's love? When their home is attacked, Velissa has a chance to prove herself, but that means leaving Preet behind. On her own, for the first time, Preet breaks the village's most sacred laws and is rejected from the only home she's ever known and sent into a new world. Divided
Whoops.
by, yeah, I mean, a choice was made.
Yeah.
Divided by different paths, insecurities, and distance, will Belissa and Preet be able to find their way back to each other? A beautiful story of two young women who are so focused on proving they're meant to be together that they end up hurting each other in the process. This is a gorgeous graphic novel. It's an LGBTQ romance about young love and how it can grow into something strong that no matter what, grow into something strong no matter what obstacles get in the way. Very sweet.
Yes.
It just sounds like a sweet one. Like the other one sounded more like this is obviously a romantic one. Like it's meant to be sweet. So I'm and the drawings suit the
Mm,
tone of the drawings suit the tone of the story.
exactly.
Very pretty.
Okay. Now, this next one, I have it under fantasy, but I also had it under just like straight historical fiction
Oh,
under one
interesting.
thing. So I'm not sure how fantasy-esque it is, but it is not contemporary present day. I can tell you that. Okay. So this one is called 80 Days. It's by A.C. Esquera. A pilot wants nothing more than to fly, or so he thought, until he crosses paths with a mysterious thief whose tricks draw him into uncharted. Isn't it usually uncharted?
Yes.
Okay. All right, that one was not my fault. Uncharted territory and new adventure. In a life where the truth changes as quickly as clouds in the sky, the pilot must decide for himself what freedom really means.
Sounds good.
Yeah, an unforgettable love letter to flight, the quest for freedom, and the greatest adventure of all, love.
Love. Sounds good. Again, all of these art styles are so different. Like this one
Yeah,
almost reminds me of Studio Ghibli, kind of, especially the bottom
yes,
half of the image.
I definitely see it.
And clearly, the three characters are represented by different types of flight: butterfly,
Yay.
plane, and a bird.
Yep.
Very good.
Looks very, very good indeed.
This
Delightful.
next one looks familiar. I feel like this one is this one not a series?
I don't
Oh,
think
I guess
so.
not.
And despite the title, it is in fact a realistic story.
Interesting. Okay. The title, for those wondering, is Martian Ghost Centaur. And it's by Matt Haggerty. I will pronounce it that way. Okay. The town of Southborough used to be a major tourism destination, drawing folks from all over in the hopes they'd spot the famous Sasquatch reportedly seen in the town many times over the years. But it's been ages since anyone spotted the Squatch, and tourism is starting to dry up. I I love that that's the shortened version, just Squatch.
The Squatch. Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, to build their techie headquarters, a tech company called Startup.com begins buying places all over town, driving out all the local townspeople. Luckily, Southborough is also home to Louis O'Connor, firm believer in the Sasquatch's existence and all around mega Squatch fan. When Louis's dad's restaurant, Squatch Burger, starts to go under and fall prey to the techie startup, Louis and her best friend Felix decide they'll do whatever it takes to save the town from losing all the people and places that make it special, in hopes that convincing people that the Sasquatch is real and to re-attract tourism. Louis and Felix plan an elaborate hoax in hopes of saving the town from the .com takeover. But when Felix starts talking about leaving their hometown for college in LA, Louis will have to face some tough questions about herself, her future career, and her place in her beloved hometown. Interesting. It's not clear why the title is the way it is. And it's real life?
Yes. Yes.
What an interesting life.
An interesting real life indeed.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Again, looks very cute, very lumberjane style of art.
Yes. And sounds sort of like, issues of basically gentrification,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Very current.
very current, and leaving your own small town,
Yeah,
moving
definitely with
on.
the small town experience.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
interesting. Some people argue online about what makes a Canadian city a city, and it's the amount of Tim Hortons that are in your town, which is very
Yeah.
funny to me because once you start looking at it, you're like, yeah, Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe. It's as good a metric as any.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Our next one. So new genre type. This is superhero. So superheroes, not DC or Marvel.
Oh,
It's called, I want to say Nubia.
I think so.
Nubia, real one, by LL McKinney, who is a fairly, I don't know if she's a bestseller, but pretty well-known YA author. And Robin Smith is the illustrator. Nubia has always been a little bit different. As a baby, she showcased Amazonian-like strength by pushing over a tree to rescue her neighbor's cat. Like, very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
but a baby?
Sure. But despite having similar abilities, the world has no problem telling her that she's no Wonder Woman. And even if she was, they wouldn't want her. Every time she comes to the rescue, she's reminded of how other people see her as a threat. Her moms do their best to keep her safe, but Nubia can't deny the fire within her, even if she's a little awkward about it sometimes, even if it means people assume the worst. When Nubia's best friend, Quisha, is threatened by a boy who thinks he owns the town, Nubia will risk it all, her safety, her home, and her crush on that cute kid in English class, to become the hero society tells her she isn't.
Wow. That's so interesting that that it's not superhero like one way or the other, but she's wearing a Wonder Woman shirt and they reference
Yeah.
it so heavily.
Yeah.
That's so
Like
cool.
I think it's pretty explicitly like, yes, she does have superpowers. Like she has skills beyond. But
Hmm.
yeah, like there's, I
But
mean,
they're literally not the superhero that they want.
we did just literally just do an episode of superheroes that were not in comics.
Hmm.
And then here's one that it is in a comic, but it's not the typical
The big
Marvel
two.
DC ones, right? So something
Hmm.
different.
Yeah, sounds good.
Mhm.
Love it. Oh, and LL McKinley wrote A Blade So Black, in case you're wondering, because I didn't know that until I read it down below.
Nonfiction.
Yeah. So this one's nonfiction. It is called Our Work is Everywhere, an illustrated oral history of queer and trans resistance by Cyan Rose, Laksh- Leah Lakshmi, Paibsen
It'll be listed on. Oh,
Samarasina. I think I did okay.
I
But
think
yeah,
you did too, actually.
yeah, check
Yeah,
the show notes for the spelling in case it's I doubt I would have been able to pronounce it like phonetically and well
right.
enough that someone listening will have been able to know how to spell it to search.
So we will, it is
Regardless.
also available elsewhere, that information. Yes.
Yes, yeah. Sorry. I figure at this point this is just our brand, stumbling over words.
I know.
Uh,
Words that are perfectly normal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Over the past 10 years, we have witnessed the rise of queer and trans communities that have defied and challenged those who have historically opposed them. Through bold, symbolic imagery and surrealist, overlapping landscapes, queer illustrator and curator Cyan Rose shines a light on the faces and voices of these diverse, amorphous, messy, real, and imagined queer and trans communities. In their own words, queer and trans organizers, artists, healers, comrades, and leaders speak honestly and authentically about their own experiences with power, love, pain, and magic to create a textured and nuanced portrait of queer and trans realities in America. The many themes include Black femme mental health, Pacific Islander authorship, fat queer performance art, disability and healthcare practice, sex work activism, and much more. Accompanying the narratives are Rose's startling and sinuous images that brings these leaders' words to visual life. Our Work is Everywhere is a graphic nonfiction book that underscores the brilliance and passion of queer and trans resistance. It sounds so inclusive, even beyond just queer and trans identities. Like that is amazing.
Yeah. It sounds like that is a resource, you know?
Yeah.
That is like something I feel like you could sit down, you could dip into that, read one section, come back to it again.
Yeah. It sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Do we
Yes, that
have
one's at That one is in the branch I'm in at Brody.
Nice.
And I see it on the display. I walked past it the last couple of days and I've been like, I don't know if I have time. Should I? Yeah.
You're like, it's Pride Month. I should.
I should. It's true. It's Pride Month.
Yeah. Oh my
It's
God. Speaking
appropriate.
of Pride Month,
Yes.
while we wrap up while we're close to wrapping up the show, I will say that Laura and I run the Youth Action Council, aka YAC, if we've ever mentioned it before. And we went to Indigo the other week and we got so many good books, and there were so many like cute gay ones and lesbian ones.
Yes.
Oh, I can't wait to see them all. And they're finally coming in from our cataloging team. So
I mean, I
coming
feel like
tonight.
it was pretty fast turnaround, which is good. We may focus on a lot of those titles in our next Pride Month episode.
Yeah, we're doing
upcoming.
three.
I think it might just be two.
Two. That makes sense
What?
because the third one would be in July.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, we're queer year round, so
Yes. This is
it's not just 1 month.
Yeah, this is a queer podcast, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, I was thinking about it, and we should have hung our pride flags behind us because ours still isn't up at Waverly yet.
Oh no,
Not yet.
It is up here at Brody, but it's not hung exactly where I want it to live permanently, to be honest with you.
You're looking
So
at it like it's in the room you're in.
I can see it. I can see it.
Oh, through the window?
The window.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought you hung it in the YA area.
I can see it through the window in the studio, which is where I am.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I will. That's our piece. And we'll, so like we always say, like, follow, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Check out our show notes, www.tbplofftheshelf.com. And we will catch you guys all in 2 weeks. Happy Pride Month. Bye.
Bye.